Has anyone ever joined a gym or been part of a gym?
Do I look like it?
Yeah.
Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, wherever it is you are listening. Joined, as always, it's Chris Cutes.
Hello, how are you?
Joe Whitaker.
You're right, Tom, yeah.
Alan Robinson.
How are you, fellas?
And fresh with the scent of lavender oil and rose petal bath oil is Jamie Page.
How are you doing?
Have you got all wrinkly like fingertips and actually no, we don't want to know. We don't want to know. How's everyone this evening?
I was doing really well right up to that, Richard. Already lost it.
Excellent. So for the shout outs this week, I'm not actually going to make individual thank yous for each and every comment, simply because we're actually recording this episode early because of everyone's holiday schedules. And I think the podcast only went out last night. So, not to name names tonight, but a big thank you from all 5 of us to each and every one that has commented on previous episodes. And obviously this one as well. You can comment via our iTunes, SoundCloud, and also on the YouTube platform. If you're listening on one, you can comment on the others as well. That's great because we love hearing all your comments. So, what is everyone up to at the moment? Because for us, it's not Christmas, but for people listening, it's after Christmas. So, can we reveal presents that we've made or given or hope to get or pretend we did get?
Sure. Why not? This is not going to be heard until after Christmas, so it'll be pointless. So you're right. I spent a lot of my time making pens for people for Christmas, and I have made over 38 pens for Christmas so far. And yeah, and I've got a funny feeling, and granted, I'm not sure that's the end of it, because my wife keeps coming home with new names for me to make people things for. But I also made some, I've made several wine racks for people that were close to us that live in the area that I had to, that my wife knew were serious wine drinkers. And I kind of created different types of wine racks. And maybe I'll do a video on that sometime next year, excuse me. But yeah, I've been busy doing a lot of that kind of stuff, but it's been fun. I mean, it's better to make than buy. So I've been having a good time. At least I was out in my shop, right? Instead of out in the store spending my money.
Absolutely. And, just out of society for a while, it's probably a plus point, I guess. But did you get a load of pen kits from Jamie by any chance? 'Cause I think he might have had a few extra floating around.
I didn't. Jamie didn't manage to give me his overflow. I actually had them on hand because I knew I was going to be doing it. But I have had to it's funny you ask, because I did have to do 2 reorders. Because I thought I had enough to begin with to cover family, friends, to start with. And then, my lovely better half just kept coming home going, and these people. And so I've had to order pen kits like 3 times so far. But yeah, I think I'm done. And I think my lady's happy that I'm done, to be quite honest with you.
I'm just imagining that this list of names on like a scroll, and it scrolls down and the thing bounces across the floor with all these names on it.
It's been crazy. But like I said, at least I was out in my shop doing something. So, I'm not going to complain too much.
Good stuff. What's everyone else been making then, or are willing to disclose at this point in time?
Well, I actually I made my my 3rd tea light holder today. So that was another gift. They seem to be going down a right treat at the moment for some reason. It was only a few days ago I made my very first one.
Yeah, because you posted those on Facebook, didn't you? Yeah,
and on my Instagram as well. And and they got picked up really well. And all of a sudden, everyone seems to want one now. So it seems like they're in my future instead of pens, which is brilliant.
What, now that you've got a big stash of pen kits that you can't get rid of?
I'll just cut them up and make acrylic candle holders.
That's an option. Yeah, that's definitely an option.
Apart from that, Christmas Day I got very drunk and went and bought loads of Festal stuff.
Excellent. So even though you've made loads of Christmas presents, you're still going to get a horrendous credit card bill come the end of January.
I'm just guessing anyway, because it goes out after Christmas.
What about you, Alan?
Well, yeah, speaking of tea light holders, my wife is notoriously bad for organizing Christmas gifts. It's not like Chris, who keeps getting names ahead of time. I get it dropped on me at the last second. Oh, yeah, we forgot to buy for these people, and we forgot to buy for those. So this year I kind of thought ahead, and I just batched out 30 some odd tea light candle holders. I've just been hoarding them for like a week now, and I don't even know who 90% of them were for, but I know they're going to end up for somebody. So we got those done. We got the bath shelves I've been talking about done. And what are we forgetting? Oh, well, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw the video. I did that cast iron bench restore for my mother-in-law. I know she's going to love that. That I can't wait to give her. Yeah,
that turned out really well too, by the way. Yeah,
can't wait to give her that. So I think I'm ready. Something's going to bite me in the ass. I know it will, but I think I'm ready.
I like the way you've got these tea light holders stashed under the bench. So when your other half comes in and goes, "Oh, we forgot this," you go, "Oh, don't worry, honey. I'm right on it."
Stop at her.
No, I'll just nip out to the shop. I'll be right back. A couple of crafty beers. Bit of pretend scoring and hammer. Come back in, empty bin.
Come back in, breathing hard, pretending you've worked. Oh, I got it done.
Yes, I'm that good.
Fantastic. Well, I actually made a tea light holder for a video. I don't know if you guys saw it. I think you were all in it. In fact, that was a lot of fun. I'll be honest, I didn't actually make that as a present. I made it as just as a Christmas video. And personally, for me, I didn't really like the finished result. I know there's a lot of people out there that really love that kind of rustic thing, but for me personally, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't happy with the finished thing, if that makes sense. But
I thought it turned out brilliant. I mean, I don't know. It just depends on your taste. I mean, I thought for what you were trying to do, I thought you achieved the rustic appearance of it without a problem. Of course,
absolutely. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not a huge fan of the rustic finish. I actually did that rustic finish as a kind of, I've never done it before. But what I like to do when I watch videos, and what I hope people do when they watch my videos, is they don't necessarily try and replicate everything in its entirety. They take little things, whether it's using a bandsaw to do it, or using one technique or something, or whatever it is. But the actual finish of it, I wasn't overly. I'd maybe do the same thing again in a different wood, different finish, something like that. I don't know.
Well, it's when it comes to rustic and it comes to finish. I mean, Richard, you could hit that thing with an axe, a hammer, and a couple wrenches, and it would still work. I mean, because it really doesn't matter when it comes to that.
Exactly. Yeah. But, I think the biggest thing about it though was I really wanted to make a fake fireplace, but apparently that's already been done.
Some other guy up in Coventry has already handled that for you. Sorry.
Yeah, as you know, I didn't make any Christmas gifts this year. I done all the shopping on Amazon. I mean, I still haven't even wrapped them at this point, being the 22nd, so I better get a move on with that. Yeah, so literally this last week has just been spent on the computer, editing video. I made an Instructable for the fold-out fireplace, so that's kind of making, I suppose, so I'm gonna take it as making anyway. That's what I've been up to.
Good stuff.
You want to do an Instructable on how to wrap them as well.
That's a good idea.
It's a thin line there, Joe. It's a thin line, but we're going to give it to you.
Let's see. I'll take it.
I don't really use Instructable. I mean, I don't post on Instructables, and I occasionally visit it. Actually, Joe, after your comment the other week, I have looked at it for those Lichtenberg patterns, figures.
Yeah.
So I think maybe next year I might start putting things as Instructables. I don't know, because it's every little thing becomes so time consuming. I actually, whilst I was organising, and yes, for anyone listening, regardless of what you may think, I do a bit of background before the show starts. Honest, I found a list of things that I wrote on New Year's Day 2016, and there were 8 projects that I wanted to build this year. Yeah. How many of those 8 do you think I actually got round to doing?
0.
No, you're all wrong. One. Only one.
You got one.
Yeah, and that was big. The one I actually got was to cut some stuff on the CNC, and that's about as vague as you can get. So you could argue that was 0. But things that are just so time consuming. I mean, is there anything you guys are thinking that you want to do for next year? Because we're kind of at the end of 2016. We talked about how the year has been and what we've been up to. So is there anything you kind of, not New Year's resolutions per se, but stuff you may be planning for your channel, projects, whatever it is, that for next year?
I've got to get this rocking chair finished in 2017. It's taken forever. I knew it was going to take a long time because I didn't want to spend my entire time just on the rocking chair, because it's quite an in-depth project and I didn't want to get in over my head, and I also wanted to be releasing kind of somewhat regular content on my channel as well. So I've been doing a bit on the rocking chair, then doing a simple project, going back to the rocking chair, so on and so forth. It's been going on for months now, so 2017, I've got to get it done by then, because if I go into 2018, it's never going to get done. So that's my biggest to-do. That's what I've got to do, get that done.
But then, you know, it's not like you haven't been doing it. It's like I had 8 things I wanted to do, and I basically did none of them because I didn't start any of them. You know, you've been working on this chair for, you know, a long period of time, but you've kind of been chipping away at it at a fairly constant pace, haven't you?
Yeah, not as constant as I originally planned, but yeah, it's slowly but surely it's coming along. But like I say, 2017, it's got to be done. It's taking up too much time as it is. So when that's out the way, I can tackle some more bigger projects, hopefully.
Because you've almost been putting out a video a week anyway, haven't you?
These last couple of months, I've been getting close. I missed this week just. I thought I'd miss a week being Christmas and stuff. But yeah, I'm getting close to a weekly schedule now, but it's kind of hard. I don't know how everybody else does it.
Excellent. So when do you reckon you might be able to get this chair finished then? Maybe this summer, next 6 months?
If I could get it done by summer, that would be brilliant. So I'll aim for summer. Yeah, I'll aim for summer to get it done.
Excellent. You heard it here, folks. Joe's going to finish up the rocking chair, which means he's going to have 2 videos a week out from 1st of July. I think that's fantastic. Excellent.
I can edit all this out, so that's fine. You can say what you want.
Forgot about that.
Who has the real power here, Richard?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know, just as a slight aside here, you say that. Did anyone hear the Reclaimed Audio podcast that came out on the 21st?
Yeah,
right,
of course.
Right at the end,
Yes,
Bill did his shout out for me, and the one thing he got completely wrong is he obviously mentioned the podcast, but he said it was my podcast. It's not my podcast at all. It is completely 100%.
Chris's.
Well, I was going to say,
it's not mine.
I was going to say our podcast,
It's
because it's a huge team
ours.
effort, isn't it? You know, I just
Absolutely.
sit here and try and steer the ship, but you know, Joe does all the editing. Chris does the kind of getting everyone together and the video side of it. Alan handles all the accounts. You do all the marketing and the publicity stuff on the social media platforms, Jamie. So without any one of us, it would all completely fall down. So
wait a minute. Joe does that. Jamie does. Alan does. What the hell do you do, Richard? What the hell do you do?
I maybe didn't word that in the best possible way.
I'm just like, wait a minute. Richard doesn't do. All right, guys, we need to have an after show meeting. Anyway.
Yeah, Joe can edit that bit out. It's fine. We don't have to go down that road.
Leave it in, Joe, or there's death.
Fantastic. Yeah, sorry, Joe. So yeah, what else have you got planned on your channel to try and get us back on vague topic?
Probably the biggest thing that'll be a change for my channel is I'm going to be doing some travelling. Now, I've mentioned in the last few podcasts, I'm actually going to be going to the States January 26th to March 16th, so that's a big chunk of time, and I'm hoping to get some videos done. I've got a couple projects in mind, but those aren't set in stone, basically, because it's not my workshop. I'm going to be borrowing all the tools and everything like that, working on it with Shane, who I'm staying with. But then I'm also...
That's 7 weeks.
7 weeks, yeah.
Blimey. I didn't realise it was that long a time.
Oh! I got a question. I got a question. Hey, Mr. 100%. I absolutely love Casey Neistat fan. Do you plan on doing any vlogging, Joe? Because that would be kind of cool to watch you on your travels. I'm thinking maybe, sort of, in a roundabout way.
I've thought about doing it. I have thought about doing some vlogs. I'm planning on releasing a While the Glue Dries soon on my channel, and I was going to say in the video, ask what people think who actually watch my channel, because if the overwhelming consensus is no, I'm not interested in that, then of course it's not really worth me putting that out there. But if people are interested in that kind of thing, then by all means I'll definitely film what I'm up to. I mean, I've got my phone, I can do all my filming, just get it out of my pocket, start filming what I'm doing kind of thing. So I would like to do vlogs, especially be a bit of a change from just round Wolverhampton kind of thing in the States. It'd be nice to get that perspective.
Well, I think it would be good. I mean, you know, and I know you don't want to disregard your audience, but I just think it would be kind of cool for you to do for yourself, because, you know, 20 years down the line, you're going to go back and look at that and go, man, I had a good time, or gee, those people sucked. I mean, one of the two.
Or somewhere in the middle.
Yes, maybe somewhere in the middle we'll find happiness. I think it would be cool, Joe, but that's just my opinion. And so you, whatever.
Yeah, I think I'll do it. Yeah, I'll have a go.
I would definitely be watching. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen the videos of the British kids eating like American sweets and the American kids eating British? It kind of, I think, would appeal to everyone, because I'd be interested to see like an Englishman's perspective of his stay in the States. I'm sure that there are people that would be an Englishman in their own country, and then somebody else I think there's something for everyone in that.
I've kind of been thinking about a versus series. So perhaps like going into Home Depot, get some footage in there, and then get some footage in B&Q back home, and compare the two, like Home Depot versus B&Q and different stores, to see how it compares to the UK and that.
Dollar store and Poundland. That's for you, Doc.
Wait, I got it. I got the whole premise. Joe, you do the entire vlog and you just disregard everybody who may possibly watch your videos, and you speak directly back to your friends back in England, and you talk to them about how weird these Americans friggin' are. And you go, can you believe it? They call jumpers shirts here. What the heck is that? You know, I mean, trust me, there's endless. We could give you endless bits. It would be hilarious. I would watch. Let's put it that way.
I'm picturing like a first-person shoot 'em up game going around like Walmart with a piece of 4x2 in front of you or something like that.
Oh yeah, I want to see Joe dressed up as John Wayne. How you doing there, buddy?
No, you've really got to put on like the Wolverhampton accent in the shop, and the camera's focused on the guy looking at you, and he's like, "What?"
They'll have trouble understanding me for sure.
Well, I think I sometimes have trouble understanding you, and you know that's just you. But yeah, what about anyone else? Anyone got any huge plans? Or I mean, I've got a few things that I could mention, but I'm trying to hold off a bit.
Probably just improve the videography and the lighting, probably in the shop. That's two of the biggest factors I think I've got to improve on, and just the editing side of things on my channel. To be honest, I've just got Adobe rather than Windows Movie Maker, so that's going to make a bit of difference. It's just learning how to use it now, so that's going to make a huge improvement for 2017.
I think that's almost, it's like having a new tool, isn't it? Like I'm looking at a router thinking, learning a router, but learning a new bit of software is just another tool for you to get familiar with, isn't it? So
I mean, I've still not got a bandsaw yet as well. I did have one a long time ago, but it was just rubbish. So I'm going to go and get a new bandsaw or some sort of bandsaw. But yeah, there's a couple more tools I'm still yet to get. So I'll probably get them in the new year at some point. And then I'm basically all set to go then.
And any reason why you're looking for a bandsaw? I mean, is there something you've got in mind, or?
Well, when it comes to going back to the pen blanks again, when I tried cutting through acrylic on the scroll saw, because I suppose I could do it by hand. When I tried cutting through it with a scroll saw, when the scroll saw cuts through it kind of the blade melts the acrylic.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
See what I mean? And you have to just keep, and it just makes a mess of it.
Could you not use like the cheaper? They're almost like hacksaw blades, but with fine teeth, and turn the speed right down.
I guess you could do. Yeah, I mean, I've used like the really big blades on the scroll saw and turn it right down, and all it wants to do is just grab hold of the acrylic.
Right.
So it's quite difficult. So
what kind of would that be? Like an 8 tooth per inch kind of blade, like the more aggressive scroll saw blades?
Yeah, like a pin tooth one.
Yeah, because they would generate less heat and probably wouldn't melt. But you're telling me it catches the blank as you're trying to. I get it. No, I get it.
Just grabs hold of it, and once it's halfway through, if there's a little bit of heat at all, it will just, and there's no way you're going to get off it because it just melts around the blade.
Yeah, if it's melting, then it's going to close. All the swarf's going to collect in the kerf and melt back together, isn't it? And fuse.
Yeah. So with a bandsaw, it'll literally be straight through. So it just make life a lot easier. And there's so much more you can do on a bandsaw as well.
Well,
You've got
yeah,
one in your shop.
you can make little like decorations, reindeer things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw that on someone's channel recently. I can't think where.
It's been done.
It's been done already.
I was like, oh well, I'll have to go back to making a fireplace decoration thing.
Yeah, like a fake one ready for next Christmas.
Yeah. One of them
That'd be
sort
awesome.
of things. Yeah. Or maybe a cutting board.
Cutting board. Yeah, who makes cutting boards? Alan,
Jamie Page does. He makes great ones. You should. He was giving them away for free the last time I heard.
Yeah.
Alan, you've done a couple of cutting boards in your time as well, haven't you?
Oh, 30 or 40, yeah. And make a video on every one I ever made.
I think you do. Yeah.
I actually have.
You're KRT Wood. I didn't know that.
Oh, I got some stuff planned for next year. I've been looking a lot into wood carving, as you guys know, and I really want to make some cool wood carving videos. I've been getting prepared for it. Ordering sharpening tools and everything. If anybody follows my Instagram, I got my first stone in several pieces. So big thanks to that company. But luckily they gave me a nice refund and let me keep the little tiny pieces and sent me out another one. So I do want to make a lot of cool carvings and work on that a lot next year on my channel. Aside of projects, though, I have one pretty wild video planned that I can't wait to do next summer. That is... I don't even know how to explain it. You guys, a lot of people online have noticed lately that I've been talking funny, and I've been calling it my Canada talk, like friggin' meat cigarettes and beg my pardon. Apologies for the outburst, fellas.
I just thought you talked funny myself.
Well, all Canadians do.
Nanaimo.
But that all comes from something. There's a channel called One Pug Life who lives about not even 20-minute drive from me. It's the craziest Canadian channel you can possibly find on the internet. Look up One Pug Life. It's all highly inspired by the Trailer Park Boys. Basically what they do, it's a daily vlog by a gentleman named Pug, and they do stunt driving. They have a small track out on his farm. They jump lawnmowers that they've souped up like 20 feet into the air, crashing into one another. They're absolutely insane. And I've been talking with him a lot lately over email, and he wants me to come out there for a weekend to make a film with him. And I couldn't be more excited about doing that. Every year they have what's called the cheeseburger picnic, where they don't eat cheeseburgers. They just crash into each other for a couple of days and have races and do absolutely crazy things. They have their own language. They have their own style. I don't even, you're going to have to go to his channel and just, the second you're going to see it, you're going to see exactly where I'm coming from. But that's my most anticipated video of the summer. I can't wait to make that happen.
And that's obviously you're planning quite a way in advance there. Presumably that's sort of like weather related as well.
Oh yeah. So we're knee deep in snow out here right now. So he still vlogs every day. You can still go watch the man, but the crazy track stuff doesn't happen until summertime.
Fantastic.
He is a maker too. He is a maker. I can't remember how I found him. It was something to do with him making a bumper. But he owns a shop called Inwood Customs. It's out of Inwood, Ontario, just a small town just outside of town here. And it's all steel work, 95% of it, all steel work. And he goes completely apeshit the entire time he's doing it. You got to watch him. It's unbelievable.
I was going to say, was it through the making that you kind of found each other, as it were?
Yeah, it was literally just the thumbnail that I was like, okay, I clicked on it. It said, I wish I could remember. It said something on the thumbnail, but he was welding in it. And I was like, oh, okay, have a quick look. And the way he talked just blew me away. It reminded me so much of Trailer Park Boys in Canada and craziness all at the same time. Right up my alley. And I think it'll fare well on my channel.
What was the name of that channel again? Was it One Pug Life?
One Pug Life. Just the number one.
Got it. Okay.
Be prepared for craziness. You're going to love him or hate him. And I love him.
I'll check that out when I finish up here. I think that sounds.
You're all going to be shaking your head thinking, oh, Alan, don't go there. Do not go there. You're gonna die. But I'm
Wake up
going
in a
there.
bath full of ice.
Yeah. One kidney short.
Awesome. I've been kind of towards the end of the year, I always start thinking forward to next year. And next year, I really, really, really want to build a drum sander. And I don't know if this is going to work, if it's even worth the time, but I don't want to build like a massive one. I really only want a small one that I can put chopping boards through. So maybe only about, 8 inches wide max. But I think all the videos that show the big one, I think the same things are going to be needed. So that's something I really want to do, just because I'm too tight to buy one. Because over here, they're like £800-900. It's just insanely expensive. I don't know what that works out in dollars.
Well, no, they're not any cheaper over here. I don't know. We're not catching any breaks over in the U.S. there, buddy, because that's about what we pay too.
Is it John Heiss that has plans for drum sanders, or Matthias?
I think it's either that or Stumpy Nubs. I can't remember. One of those guys does have plans for a drum sander. Yes.
Yeah, Stumpy's got, I think, 2, if not 3 different versions or models.
He's got one with a 3-inch sanding wheel on it as well.
Yeah, but I think predominantly most of the designs are fairly the same. Like a drum sander is a drum sander, like a bandsaw is a bandsaw. So there's only going to be fairly small differences, I think, from what I've sort of managed to glean at the moment. But I say I only want one to be about 8, maybe 10 inches wide. So I don't need it to be massive. And obviously, if I make it small and it doesn't work, I've used less materials than trying to build a massive one. Plus, I haven't got space for a big one anyway. So that's something that I'm going to be looking into and trying. But that probably won't be until later on in the year.
That'll be interesting because as you started talking about that, I started thinking about if I was going to make one, I would think the trick would be the speed of the feed roller that feeds the piece, as opposed to the speed of the drum that's actually doing the sanding on the surface. And so I would imagine that getting those speeds correct so it actually worked is the tricky aspect of that whole thing. Because the build itself, I can imagine, is relatively straightforward, but it's the timing that I think is probably the issue. I don't know. I've never tried to build one. That's the first thing I thought of, though.
Well, some people have built them with like the automatic feed rollers, and they've used like off-the-shelf sanding belts or as the feed roller, because obviously being an abrasive, that's got a bit of grip to it. But a lot of people just use, a flat bed, a flat smooth table, and manually push it through. Because obviously you're pushing against the roller, so it's relatively safe. But I don't know. I was actually thinking about maybe doing like a hand crank one. You remember like the old mangles that the housewives used to have at the side of the river?
That'd be an awesome video to watch.
Yeah. Because do you need a motor for it? I don't know.
I made one out of an old drill once, and it worked like a charm.
Drill powered.
Yeah. I just put a twist tie around the power. I just had to plug it in to make her go, and worked until I got the actual sander in. It worked for me great.
No, not a disc, not a flat disc. We're talking about a drum.
I was like, Alan made a drum sander out of a drill. If you made a drum sander out of a drill, I'm going to start calling you Izzy Swan.
Not in this lifetime.
No, so a disc sander would be like a plate.
I thought we were talking about circle. That's what I thought we were talking about was a disc. I'm just going to be quiet now.
No, imagine like a toilet roll holder with sandpaper wrapped around it. So it's a cylinder.
It's
and
a cylinder
spins, and then you put the piece of work between that rotating cylinder so you can get something wide through it.
I was going to say
Garage Woodworks.
Wow, Alan, I was going to say I don't belong here. You guys are too brilliant for me, because if you made one out of a drill, I do not belong on this podcast.
but potentially, if I'm going to go down,
you could still power it with a drill.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, Izzy made some handheld ones. Izzy's got plans for handheld drum sanders.
There you go, Izzy. If you're looking for a project to impress people, drum sander made out of a drill. Yeah, and you know what? He would do it too. Because he could do it.
It's been done.
Ideas can come from my deafness.
Well, no, to say, if I'm going to do because I'm really thinking maybe a hand cranking one with like some old bike parts.
Should be like Daniel Seluige's lathe. His is hand cranked.
Yeah, kind of.
Foot cranked. Foot. I think he uses his foot.
You can have like the pedal and Yeah, there's all sorts of modes of operation. I
If
guess.
you get like an automated dancing monkey with a top hat, dancing around on top of it, that would be awesome.
Well, if I move my workshop to like next to a stream and I build a little dam and with like a head of water and then a sluice gate in it, I could have this like 24-foot diameter water wheel attached to like a stone mill.
You're turning into a beaver on us. You know that, right?
You could use an old Singer sewing machine, like the treadle sewing machines.
Yeah.
And then actually use the top of the sewing machine for your base.
Oh, there goes Joe being intelligent and stuff again. Yeah, because that would actually friggin' work, Joe.
You could tell your kids that you're going to take them out bike riding.
Just put a telly in front of them.
Yeah.
So Richard had something serious to say, and I completely derailed the whole thing here.
No, not at all. Because hand power. There's all these other different options that I hadn't thought. I hadn't thought of a drill or a treadle. I was literally like electric motor. That's going to be electrics, and then speed controllers because of the belt and all that kind of stuff. I'm more mechanically minded than electric. So there's loads and loads of good ideas coming out of just that. So I should be noting these down. So I'm going to have to now listen to this podcast again with a notebook, I think. And but no, they're all good ideas there, Alan. So don't feel bad, mate. It's fine, honestly.
I'm here to help.
Honestly, it really is fine.
Enjoy your disc sander.
2017 is going to be an interesting year. As far as I can tell so far, 2017 is going to be interesting. I don't really have a lot planned for 2017 at the moment. I mean, it's kind of like
a week away.
I've gotten to that mode of where I know I'm going to be sitting on my laurels for the next week or so. And so I've kind of really just tried to block a lot of that stuff out and just like, I just want to chill and relax. But I do have some that I know that I off the top of my head that I know that are going to be priorities for me this year. And we talked about this last week, I believe. Lighting in my shop. I need to go to work on lighting, just in certain areas because I have dark spots in my shop. And having walked out into my shop this morning, and I had this great idea. Tell me, I had that moment when you have like you're sitting inside your house, and all of a sudden you have this. You think I got this great idea to go out and make a project, and it was one of those moments where I went, oh, this would be cool. I'm gonna go do it. And I walk out there in my shop and it's 9 friggin' degrees in my shop. That moment I'm talking about, it's called, oh my God, it is cold out here. And so I went back inside, looked for the Jack Daniels and said the project could wait. So heating in my shop may be a priority sometime next year. I'm not interested in going out there now and doing it because it's freaking cold. But sometime, it's going to be kind of a weird deal because I'll probably be working on insulating in my shop in the middle of summer when, you really don't want it. But yeah, I've got to do that.
Well, 9 degrees C isn't that cold.
It's like minus 21 Celsius. Yeah, 9 degrees. Anyway, but in all seriousness, I do. And I think we'll probably, and I don't know, because each one of us has different situations and different shop spaces, but I'm constantly, and you guys can chime in here, I'm constantly trying to create more shop space for myself. I'm constantly looking, because I find that I get, whether it's via clutter or just things that don't really belong in my shop or in my shop, I'm constantly trying to figure out how to get them out of my shop to create more shop space for me. So, I don't know. I'm on the edge here. I've got, there's a certain part of my shop that you never see in any of my videos. And it's because I keep a lot of my outdoor gardening tools, in my shop. And I'm talking snowblower, lawnmower, weed eater. I've got a generator in there for, when the power goes out. And it's just stuff that I really don't need inside a wood shop that's inside my shop that I'd like to get out. And I could build an outbuilding, which may be in the plans of the Offworks, build a small shed in the back of my yard, maybe just store that stuff there to open up some space. But, and I can't believe I'm about ready to say this, but because I never thought I would, because I collected music for years, guys. I have a record collection, and I'm talking vinyl, old school, awesome. like you would not believe. I mean, I have anyway, but I feel the same way about music as I do my tools. There's no way I could sell my music, and I don't think there's any way I could sell any of my tools. But I'm on the brink of thinking about getting rid of one of my tools because it just takes up too much space in my shop. And I don't use it often enough. And I guess I'm pleading for you to talk me out of it because once you get a tool, you really don't want to get rid of it. And I'm talking about getting rid of my radial arm saw because my radial arm saw, I don't use that often at all. And it takes up a lot of space in my shop because it's a big tool.
You have a sliding miter saw, you have a table saw. You already have the tools that'll do everything it will do, right?
Yes, but that radial arm saw does things much more easily than those other tools do, which is why I've always hung on to it. And I didn't want to get rid of it because I know it's a luxury, but it's a luxury that if I really want more space, I can probably ill afford. So I'm thinking about maybe letting it go. It didn't cost me anything. I found the radial arm saw. It was on the side of the road. People were giving it away for free. I picked it up and retuned it, cleaned it up, and it works like a champ. It's just that I don't know that it's worth having in my shop anymore because it takes up so much darn room.
You brought it back to life. I can see how that'd be hard to get rid of. Do you have a basement you could store it in?
No, I don't. Yeah, you know, and it's really weird because I live in a 2-story house and I live in New England where you think I would have a basement, but I don't have a basement. My shop is in my 2-car garage downstairs. So I really don't, but I don't want to get rid of this darn thing because it's a great tool to have when you're doing dado cuts for shelving. I even use it to level out boards as opposed to using a hand plane because I can put a dado stack in the radial arm saw and using much like you would a router, Richard, like with a router sled, I can just move the piece across I can move the piece across and gradually dado it flat. So I don't know. I'm on the fence, but I'm seriously thinking about letting that go. And possibly if I do, since I didn't pay anything for it, I will probably give it away to somebody who's interested into it. But that's not a contest, folks. It's not going out the door yet. I'm just saying I'm thinking about it because it takes up a lot of room.
I was just going to say it to you. If you do decide to let it go, you should pay it forward to give it to somebody who really needs it.
I will absolutely just give it away. I'm not going to look to turn a buck on it. If I do end up getting rid of it, I will give it away because I got it for free. So why should I charge anybody else?
That is awesome.
Yeah, I know you were kind of wanting us to talk you into keeping it, but I'll be honest with you, Chris. I'm struggling to think of a reason why you should keep it.
Yeah, I know.
If I'm brutally honest, and sometimes you have to look at it that way. Yes, you can thickness with it, but you can use a router for that.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you make a jig, the jig's going to take up less room.
Yeah.
You can put trenches in for shelving. You can do that with a router.
Yeah. I know.
It's.
I know.
Would you be able to incorporate it into your workbench in any way? So the space that it does take up most of the time is being used as a workbench, and then for the odd occasion you need to use the saw, you've just got to clear your workbench off and make room.
You know what, Joe? That is another option that I have thought about because I've seriously thought about tearing my entire shop apart and rebuilding it because I don't like the layout of my shop the way it currently is. If you guys have seen my videos, I have a bench that is placed up against a wall. And I'd really like to have a 360-degree bench that I could walk away all the way around. That would mean I need to put my workbench in the middle of the room and take all of my tools that are currently in the middle of the room and put them up against the walls. That may be a solution. And it may be the only way I end up hanging on to that radial arm saw because it could work in that capacity. It's a great idea, Joe. Yeah, it's possible.
Would you be able to do something a bit like Frank Howarth has done with his? I mean, he's got two of everything pretty much, and he's got the space for it.
Yeah,
but he's got like two radial arm saws next to each other in a big long bench, hasn't he? A bit almost like a J-bait style.
And I believe, and I may be wrong on this, and I'd have to remember to go back and look at one of Frank's videos, but I do believe that they are all on the same plane as his miter saws as well, so they all work as a level surface for a workbench. If he's going to throw a 12-foot board up there, and the part of that board would be sitting on the radial arm saw, the miter saw, and then he'd use another miter saw to cut it with. Yeah. He's got. Well, I don't want to. I'm not going anywhere near Frank Howarth next year. I mean, that would be an ambition of mine if I could do it. But yeah,
just because Frank's got or anyone's got such a vast space or whatever, doesn't mean to say you can't bring these ideas into your own area. Like, is it, like Joe said, is it possible to put those in next to each other in a big long bench? You got storage underneath, maybe for the tools that are in the middle of the shop, so you can move your bench. You might end up killing two birds with one stone there.
Well, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible because I would have to lose the base that the radial arm saw is currently sitting on because the base is too tall. Because that radial arm saw sits, much higher than my table saw, the top of my table saw does. So I would need to lose the base, lower the radial arm saw down to a level that would actually work, and that would probably function. But I don't, are we always reinventing or rebuilding our shops? I mean, it's like an ongoing thing with everybody else too, because I'm constantly trying to, do it. Some people do SketchUp. I'm just constantly trying to mentally rearrange my shop every time I go out there and look at things, or I get frustrated. I'm always, I need to redo this shop. I need to redo this shop. It's like an ongoing life process. It never ends.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. It's weird because I struggle to understand the whole constantly evolving. And I don't know, but I think it might be because not only is my workspace very small, it's also an odd shape. So it's kind of like, I think it's half a 12-sided shape, whatever that's called, on the side of a rectangle, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a D shape, but it's not a curve, they're like straight segments. So I can't really put anything up against that wall as like a bench because it doesn't fit, or it's weirdly shaped. And it's all glass, so I've got no wall space either. So I literally have to just kind of work with what I've got, and everything's on wheels.
So what you have works the only way that it can work in that space that you're working with.
I think so. I mean, I do stand there and think, is there any way to squeeze an extra couple of square inches of floor space out? Because that's all I really at the moment need would be more floor space. And I think I'm struggling to come up with any way I could kind of move things around to get any more space. So I struggle to understand the whole constantly rearranging the area. But, if I move into a different space, then that probably will change. So at the moment, I'm kind of a bit of a quandary about that.
Well, like everybody else, I'm always looking to bring in new tools to work with too. I mean, one of my goals for 2017 is to bring in new tools, and I can't bring in more stuff without getting rid of something. And so something's got to go and something's got to give. And I'm really wondering what that is. And that's kind of where I was coming from. Cause I mean, I want to get a good sanding station. I don't have a good sanding station in my shop. I need a good sharpening station for my lathe tools. I don't have that right now. So there are things that I have to bring into my shop for the kind of work that I want to do. I know that I want to do going in the future. And I'm kind of looking at tools that I used to use in the past. It's a lot, and I don't use that much anymore. And I'm wondering if it's just time to pay it forward and give it to somebody else and create the space for the things that I want to work with. I mean, I don't know. And as Joe pointed out correctly, it may just be a matter of me getting down and being creative with the way my shop is actually designed, and actually creating more space that way, because that's actually a feasible option. So.
I was actually in a very similar, if not the exact same predicament. When I had my very first scroll saw, there was a wood carver just around the corner from me. And it was time for me to upgrade, because I hated being restricted by pin blades on the scroll saw. So when I decided to upgrade the one I had to the next one, I turned around and contacted him, because when he does his carving and things like that, I know that he has to cut out or carve out really big holes. So I said to him, right, if I was to say to you, look, here's a scroll saw, all you've got to do is drill a hole, cut round it. That's rather than an hour's worth of carving, you'll have that done in 5 minutes. So I said, there you go, there's a scroll saw. He said, how much do you want for it? I said, nothing. Go on, take it. And he was like, oh, that's brilliant. And he posted a video saying thanks, etc., etc. So for me, it was a no-brainer. It's just pass it on to the next person.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's always far, far nicer to, it doesn't end up in landfill, or, if you can give it to somebody who, can get some use out of it, even if they only get use out of it for 3 months, that's either 3 months that it's not in landfill, or maybe they'll pass it on to somebody because, they felt like you did. They got it for nothing, they'll pass it on and sort of do someone else a favour. So, yeah, I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think any of us, and I mean, Joe, Alan, you guys chime in. I don't think any of us would ever just throw away something that we knew functioned and worked. There's just no way in heck I would. If I knew, I would hang on to it before I just threw it away. It's just, I'm not going to throw away something that's in good use and is able to still work for somebody else.
That would be a sin.
No, it's a great feeling giving a tool away to somebody who needs the tool. I had a gentleman at work who loved the idea of woodworking and was constantly watching my channel and talking to me about it. And he came in one day with a picture of a like rustic end table he made. It was the first thing he ever made. Did it with nothing more than a handsaw and some glue. And he was so excited. Look, I made my first project. It's such a great feeling to have this thing done. And then he was like, you know what? Come on by the shop tonight. I got something for you. And it was the same week that I got the Evolution saw in. And I gave him my old Delta chop saw. And he's been building a shop ever since. Like he basically kind of started with this chop saw. And he's
Awesome.
just as much of a junkie as I am now. And it's just a great feeling knowing that's what started it.
Yeah, that is awesome. Good for you, Alan. That is awesome to know.
Yeah, that's a pat on the back moment for yourself, for sure.
Absolutely.
I confess, I can't remember ever giving anything away, but that's not because I've thrown anything out. I tend to store things. I'm quite fortunate in so much as, although I've got a tiny workspace, I've got quite a big storage area, which is like an hour away. So I can store, I've got 2 miter saws. So I've got the one I bought 10 years ago that's been in a video, and one I got sent by the company, and one of them, the old one's stored. I've got a 12-inch thicknessing DeWalt thicknesser, which I very rarely use. So it's in storage until I need it, because I haven't got the space in the workspace. But a bit like you, Chris, I'd be very reluctant to get rid of it because I don't want to not have the option. Does that make sense? Like if one of my miter saws went down, I've got a spare, and I wouldn't be scuppered. The same as I guess you with your radial arm.
That's kind of actually where I'm stuck at, because it's a luxury, and I know it's a luxury, and it has to be a luxury because it's obvious I don't use it that often. It's just there but it takes up a heck of a lot of room, but it's still not easy to give up tools. I mean, once you get them, it's hard to give them away. That's kind of where I'm at. It's not being greedy. It's just that I don't know. It's just you cherish your tools if you're a maker. You really do. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pretend like they're children. They're not. I mean, they're freaking machines. But you kind of cherish the tools you work with, and it's just kind of hard to part ways with them sometimes, especially just because you're not using them anymore. It's like I don't know.
I mean, just because they're a machine doesn't mean to say it hasn't got a name.
No, exactly. I mean, do you name your tools too, Richard?
Well, I send my table saw a Christmas card. Everyone does that, right? It's not just me. Everyone does that.
Yeah, it's everybody.
I send my dust collector Valentine's.
Oh God!
Not the dust. I've fallen out with my dust collector because it's.
I just signed it. You're a good sucker. There you go. I love you. I mean that.
Cool. So Chris is basically taking the week off and resting on his laurels, ready for next year. Jamie is making tea light holders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe, are you currently working on the chair, or are you?
Well, I've actually got something else that's been going on. I mentioned in the last podcast that I'd been working on my Halloween project from a couple of years ago.
Oh, yes, I remember now.
Well, I was actually contacted by a publishing company, and they want to put that project into a book. So I've repainted it to make it look newer because it was just all dusty in my workshop. So that's actually what I've been doing, and I've took all photos, tried to do a bit of a step-by-step to help the author write the article about it. So that's basically what I've been doing.
Nice. Are you allowed to talk about any more than that, or is it just a book?
I should be able to. It's going to be a book based around projects inspired from video games. I'm not too sure when it's going to be coming out and everything like that because I haven't been given that information, but it's happening. Judging by their other works, I think it's going to be a really nice book to actually look at, visually. It's a really modern style, the way that this publishing company does them, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all turns out.
That's awesome, Joe. Congratulations.
That is big,
thank you.
Big news. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned that yet.
I was going to say, why do we have to drag these things out of you? Why don't you standing on the roof?
By the way,
about it.
Famous now.
Yeah.
Shall I tell everyone that you told me about 2 weeks ago?
What?
You didn't.
And the fact that Jamie knew before anybody, that's almost sacrilegious.
I'm surprised Jamie hasn't dropped it out before now.
I'm offended now.
Well, Joe, I think that's absolutely awesome. Congratulations, man.
Cheers, Tar.
Make sure you let us know where we can buy your book.
As soon as I know any information, I'll be letting everybody know.
That's amazing.
I promise me we're not going to have to try and drag this information out of you later on. You will actually offer it next time once you know.
Yeah, it's waiting for the right opportunity.
This is the kind of thing. This is the kind of thing you
It's full of
open with.
pictures.
Oh, what the hell with it? There goes my 2017. There's no way in hell I'm topping that. Good for you. Thanks, Joe.
We're all
Appreciate it.
quitting. Yeah, we're all quitting now.
See, I know why. I know why Joe told Jamie, actually, I think, because you were talking about, weren't you going to do a pop-up version?
Oh God.
There's got to be a nutty pen as a centerfold.
Now with real nuts.
Christmas to end the year, all my nuts.
The same way he started it.
Don't we all?
Awesome. So what are you currently working on? I'm just going to ignore this and try and move on now. Alan, what are you currently working on?
I got to be honest with you. I'm not working on anything right now.
Right, so you're doing the whole holiday kind of break thing as well, are you?
Yeah. I haven't even done a build video in 2 weeks. Things because of Christmas with my family, being a giant family, has just been crazy. YouTube has been on the back burner for a couple of weeks now. I have plans with Jim Dockrell and another gentleman to go with me to the Hamilton Woodworking Show that I just made today. I'm very excited about. And I'm doing a lot of plans for the new year for my channel and whatnot. And that is the best I can tell you for right now.
Cool. I kind of feel you there, actually, because well, not literally, obviously, but I sort of had a bit of a no, we're moving on. We're not stopping. We're just going to move on by.
Oh, damn it.
I had a bit of a YouTube break in October and November because I was so busy doing client work, and then that came to an end, and I was able to then basically do quite. I mean, I've put out, I think, 5 videos in the last week and a bit. I just really pumped some out, but they were like Christmas build projects, and so I've been quite hard on that. So now I'm not got a project on the go as such, but I'm doing the whole planning for next year. Because has anyone ever joined a gym or been part of a gym?
Do I look like it?
Well, you've got to ask the broader question, haven't you, Jamie? If anyone's out there can maybe appreciate this, or whether they're like training for a marathon or an event or something, you do loads of training, and then for whatever reason you might have a day off, or you get a cold, or you get an injury, and then the longer you take off, the harder it is to get back into it. And then you go, I've got my gym membership, and then it's like, oh, it runs out a week ago, and I haven't been for 6 months because I twisted my ankle or whatever it is. And before you know it, it's just long. So I try not to do that, because it's very easy to go, oh, blimey, I haven't put a video out for 2 months. So I'm sort of trying to use this time now when I'm not really kind of physically doing anything, and I'm planning for next year, which is kind of a good segue into something I really wanted to mention before the end of the show. I think we've got about 5 minutes left. So I want to revisit the Cutting Edge Router Tips series that I did, and this goes back to the gym scenario, about 18 months ago now. I thought it was only a year, but it's much, much longer. I know Joe did a video for this, and Alan has done a video, but it hasn't come out yet because it's going to be for parts of series 2. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then by all means go and have a look. Basically, what it is the series of somebody supplies a quick, short video about a router problem or question they've got, and then I do a video around answering the question. So I think one of Joe's was about cutters burning, if I remember rightly. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, it was why they burn on like hard timbers and stuff like that.
That's right. So then the video goes on to do that. But I wasn't really overly happy with the outcome of the first series. Obviously, I want to improve on that and make it even better. I got a lot of comments on maybe how I can improve it. So that's what I'm going to do in 2017, and I'm committed to doing that. It might not be in January or February, but it won't be in September or October. I'm going to get it in a reasonable sort of time period. So all that waffle aside, what I'm asking for from you guys, if you want to participate, and obviously the listeners as well, because it's open to everyone, if you've got a question or a project or a scenario to do with routing that you're either unsure about, want some clarification on, or just kind of, I guess, want me to cover, get in touch. We can talk, put the video together. It literally is only, I think, like 15 seconds yours was, Joe, something like that about, I think.
Yeah, just about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, these can be like anything. These can be, and I'm hoping these can be very basic questions for, like, if let's just say I'm brand new somebody just gave me a router for Christmas. I've never had one of these darn things in my hands before. Richard, what do I do with this? I mean, are we looking
absolutely.
at... Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
all right.
maybe not something as kind of open and broad as that. Maybe
Well, of course not. Yeah.
a little bit more specific. So, I think one of the previous ones was why has it got multiple speeds for the motor? It's a fairly basic, but it's a fairly specific. And then obviously, the more specific the videos, the more people can get involved.
Or what direction do I move this thing in? You know,
Absolutely.
That's a
the
basic
kind of
question that people probably want to. Okay. So it can be that basic. So people shouldn't shy away from asking you a question that's basic.
Absolutely. I mean, because no question is, dumb or stupid or too basic. Because if somebody doesn't know something, then they don't know it. So to find out. So whatever it is.
And I can hook you up.
Magic. And actually, even if the question was maybe even asked or covered in one of my earlier videos or one of the sort of first series of this, I'm more than happy to do it again because I've learned a lot more, not just with the router, but, with the video and the whole doing stuff generally. So just to improve on it would be better. So I'm opening that up to everyone. So if you guys you've got a question, if you want to redo it, Joe, or if you want to do it, Jamie, then by all means, we'll have some fun with it at the same time. So I think that'd be kind of cool.
You know what else is cool? I'm going to tell you what else is cool. Matt Cremona is cool. I'm going to give my shout out for this week to Matt Cremona, if I could.
Absolutely.
Last week, he put out the video of that big butt Mamma Gemma bandsaw mill that he made. Emphasis on MADE himself. And he made the first cut with that bandsaw last week, and he put a video out on it. And Matt, that, my friend, is freaking awesome. That is impressive. If you guys haven't seen that, that's just so cool. It's like you talking about building a drum sander. This guy actually built himself a bandsaw mill and is going to be milling up timbers with that. And Matt, I'm impressed. Utterly impressed. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I watched that live. Went through like butter. First cut. That was amazing.
Awesome. Great job, Matt. Great job.
I've been kind of following like his questions and posts that he's been, pictures been going out, things like that with the anticipation. I've deliberately not watched because I'm going to binge watch the whole thing like a full-on event. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because now I can sit down probably whilst everyone's got the Queen's speech on Christmas Day and watch that. Definitely should be good once all the old people are falling asleep. And
it's all good. So what's everybody else been watching?
I've been watching Joe Basement Woodworking and Rob's Wood Shop have been doing a very cool collab where they're making children's toys and giving them away. They're doing 5 videos each, so 5 different toys, and they're giving them all away. They're very cool little toys, very cool videos. I just thought it was such a great idea. I couldn't not talk about it. And I believe when they're done, they're also opening it up to the public, or it's already open to the public. So if you want to make a toy for a kid, it doesn't matter if it's your own kid or some stranger's kid. It doesn't matter. Just make a toy for a kid, go ahead and give it away, make a video for it, or don't make a video for it. I just thought it was a really cool idea, and everybody should be watching that. So that's Joe Basement Woodworking and Rob's Wood Shop, sorry.
Before I get my my shout out across, I just want to. Do you remember me mentioning Jerry Blakeslee from Jerry's Machines? It's on YouTube from Tracks of Inspiration.
Yeah,
he was building the tracked machine for the kids to get them on the right tracks, if you like. I was talking to him recently, and he's hoping to have that machine built by the end of the summer, just before the school starts at 2017. So that is certainly something I'm going to be looking forward to seeing finished. And my shout out, he's known to the community as Pat Lapp and on YouTube as Le Pic Bois. I think that's how you pronounce it. There's no particular reason why I've picked Pat as my shout out. It just over 2016, we've just become really good friends. We're always having a good laugh and joking about a lot. So yeah, that's my shout out, and I just want to say baguette to Pat, and he'll know what that means.
I think if anyone doesn't know your kind of relationship, as it were, they'd think you knew each other for a lot longer than perhaps you have, because it's obvious that you're really good buddies.
Yeah, not too long.
Oh, did you have to phrase that as a relationship, Richard?
I'll leave.
It's not a relationship.
People that know Jamie, people that know Pat, they can read into that whatever they like.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not in a relationship with Pat. That's Paul Jackman and Pat are in a relationship.
Oh, as long as I don't see a Facebook post tomorrow where it says Jamie Page is now in a relationship, I'm going to be all right with it. I'm going to go through it.
Facebook relationship dating. I'm going to look out for that.
All right, I'll shut up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to be shouting out BigClive.com on YouTube. Now, he does all there is to know about electronics, and what I really like about his channel is he kind of specialises in the cheapest of cheap electronics. He likes to go to Poundland, get their LED lights mainly, that's what he predominantly looks into, but all their cheap electronic equipment, and really puts them through the paces and shows how they work and stuff like that. Now, for me watching it, I haven't got a clue what he's talking about. I can't understand all the terminology that he uses, but his videos are just fascinating to watch. So perhaps looking forward, if I could get into some electronics more, then I'll start to understand what he's talking about and learn a lot more from him. But anybody who's got just the slightest interest in electronics, check him out on YouTube, BigClive.com. Brilliant stuff.
Awesome. Cool. And you know what, Joe, out of the five of us, I think if anybody would be good at electronics, it would be you.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I do. I think that you're probably wired for that. Get it? Excuse the pun.
Agreed.
Oh,
Chris. That was shocking.
All right, time to unplug. Let's end this thing.
I'm going to be a bit against the grain, as always, well, as I frequently am. I'm actually going to shout out you, Alan.
Excuse?
Because,
Beg my pardon?
well, if anyone hasn't seen my, I think, which one was it? It was the tea light holder video that we were all in. It was kind of a collab with all of us. As part of that, I actually did my little kind of response to your outburst before you sent me that video. And I'd said about doing the chopping boards and then done the reaction before you'd sent that video. So I then looked through your videos to try and find a cutting board video. Okay. And I found one and then realised that there was actually three. So it was a complete fluke that I picked cutting boards. But as a result of that, I then started to watch all the way through all of those cutting board videos. And so I'm slowly at the moment going through all of your kind of back catalogue. And boy, do you change.
Yes.
Just the evolution of your channel and the kind of, it has kept me interested. I mean, I'm probably about maybe a dozen videos in. So there's some of the, obviously all your cutting board ones and the exploring the houses and some of your rants and the stalking John Highs. It's just such a diverse, the mullet and there's one where you're like completely clean shaven. I think with glasses, you look about 18 or something. It was like, that's not Alan. It's just like, oh, and I even showed my other half and she's like, whoa, the change. And it was brilliant. And it's really interesting watching the evolution, and I'm kind of hooked on binge watching your channel at the moment. So I would definitely recommend everyone to do the same, because that is some seriously cool entertainment there, mate.
Well, thank you. I'm not just a maker on YouTube. I just consider myself a YouTuber in general. I like making all kinds of videos that I can come up with. I love to film just as much as I love to make. So that's kind of where that comes from.
I just want to congratulate you, Alan, on the fact that you actually got Richard to watch some of your stuff, because he's yet to do that for me, and that's all right. That's okay. Oh, but that's I'm not jealous. I'm really not.
Well, it's quite easy, Chris. It's not difficult. All you've got to do is start a YouTube channel.
Put out something worthwhile. Put on something mildly entertaining, Chris, and maybe I'll watch. I love you, man. Don't worry about it.
See, now I always click the like and comment just to say that I'm watching it. I'm watching the video now. Everything I watch.
And I find it quite hilarious too, by the way. Thank you.
I just hope everyone else does. Excellent. Well, I think we're probably running a little bit over, but it's probably not all right, because either everyone's falling asleep after Christmas or they're looking to go out on the lash because they haven't got to go to work tomorrow. So I would like to hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas. I wish them all a happy new year. We will be back in 2017, I presume. Everyone's nodding. So I've been Rick Morley. You can find me at brainfizz.uk and under my name on YouTube. Where can everyone be found?
Actually, you can find me on Unstructables, unlike Richard, but you can't find me on Instagram. But you can find me on Facebook at Make the First Cut, and also on YouTube under my name, Chris Cute.
You can find me on YouTube at JP Woodwork and Instagram and Twitter at JP_Woodwork.
And as always, you can find me Facebook, Instagram, YouTube under the Woodworking Junkie.
And myself, it's Average Joe's Joinery on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Average Joe's Photography on Instagram.
Fantastic. We'll see you next year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Have a new year. See, I caught flack for not saying, have a Merry Christmas or have a Christmas.